If you need a break from all this Carson Wentz news blowing up your timeline right now, well, check this out.
Well, now that we got your attention, we have a full episode of Temple Timeout, including Temple women's volleyball, men and women's basketball, and we even touch on some soccer. But first, let's take a timeout. Here we are with another episode of Temple Timeout, and yep, there's still snow on the ground, so thank God we're on Zoom because filming this show would have been an absolute hassle.
Yeah, well, Alex, I'm glad you were able to take some time out of your outdoor adventures. I understand you made a few snow angels today, maybe a couple of snowmen, but it's good to see you because we have a busy show today. Let's start with highlights from Temple Volleyball's first game in their doubleheader with UCF yesterday afternoon. First set was a close back-and-forth battle, but UCF gets on a late set run to win 25-22. Second set came down to a tie at 25. The two teams traded points until UCF finally won by 2 with a score of 28-26. Third match down to the wire again. Temple just barely edged out by a score of 25-23. The Owls get swept by the Knights, but kept it close and interesting in each set, playing better volleyball than the score shows. All right, and now let's take a look back to Wednesday night where Temple women's basketball got off to a hot start at Tulsa and never looked back. Here's Jaisha Clinton nailing a 3 in the second quarter. Later, Clinton with a nice entry pass to Mia Davis, who gets the layup and draws the foul with 4 seconds to go in the half. She finished the night with 17 points.
Now check out Alexa Williamson boxing out, getting the pass and knocking down the turnaround jumper. She led in scoring with 18. The Owls kept the lead the whole game and blew out Tulsa, 68-46. Only a day prior to the women's game against Tulsa, the men's team was also in Oklahoma trying to take down the Golden Hurricanes and snap a 4-game losing streak. But things were a lot different for the Owls. Transfer guard Caliph Battle got his first start of the season with the absence of Damian Dunn. But for Battle, scoring wasn't a problem. He had 21 points of his own. But just like a lot of games this season, that was not enough. Here's Elijah Joyner sinking shots to keep the cushion fluffy for Tulsa. They led most of the game. Although Temple did make it a 3-point game in the second half, but Darian Jackson replied with 8 straight points for the Golden Hurricanes. The Owls couldn't keep up and lose 72-66. Unfortunately, that's 5 straight losses for the Owls of Broad Street.
We are now joined by the Sports Desk's very own Jonah Wooten to take a closer look at Temple hoops, both men's and women's, but we will start off with the women's side of things. They've won 2 straight, blew out Tulsa. You know, Jonah, I want to ask you now, can they hang with, or do you think they'll make it at least interesting with USF and UCF?
Okay, well, I think they can certainly hang with Central Florida. We've actually seen them beat Central Florida earlier in the season, back in January at McGonigal Hall. You know, in terms of South Florida, I'm not quite sure. I feel like this team, they're on a freight train right now. They've won 11 straight. I honestly don't see anyone beating them right now. And Temple, I feel like, you know, against tough competition this year, they struggled a lot. We saw the home opener against Villanova blowing out at South Carolina. Now it's South Carolina, but, you know, still lost by 1 million. You know, they were swept by Houston this year. They were swept by Tulane, you know, blowout losses. So, you know, can they hang? Maybe. But will they win? You know, I don't quite see that happen. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be.
I feel you. I mean, it was a promising blowout, definitely. But yeah, they beat UCF earlier in the season, so I definitely agree with you on that. Same with the USF. I mean, they're a good team. They're a ranked team, so we'll see. But I have another question for you, Jonah. They're sitting in the middle of the pack in the standings. The AAC tournament's coming up. I'm sorry. Where do you think they're going to end up in the standings, and how far are they going to go in the tournament?
Again, you know, they have won the last 2, and they've won the last 4 or 5, and they're 9-5 in the conference this year. They're really, they've been really good against their conference opponents. But, you know, at the top of the ladder, you have USF and UCF and Tulane and Houston. So they are just like a game back, I think, of Houston for that 4th spot. They're sitting pretty good right now in the 5th. can they move up? Of course, but the competition ahead, you have USF coming up. You have UCF coming up. Can they win those games? Honestly, I'm just hoping they look good in those games. I don't expect wins. I just hope they look good. And if they can win and climb up, I mean, great. But I feel like they're just going to stay stagnant where they are. And, the 5 spot is not that bad. It's a pretty good spot to be in.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure,
No.
I agree.
Over to the men's side now. They are sitting very different tale over there. They're sitting second to last in the conference. They've been pretty much underwhelming, I guess is a nice way to put it. What are they really playing for at this point?
Pride. They're just playing for pride at this point, and experience too. You want to get all the minutes in that you possibly can get, especially with a team as young as this men's team. All the freshmen, in the starting lineup, and on the team in general. You want to get all the experience you can. So I don't want to say these games aren't important just because they look out of it. Like as far as postseason goes, there's really nothing there. Just play well. Just
play well.
Have something to just build on for next season. Use these games to just build on for next season, and that's really what they're playing.
Yeah, that's the answer. I mean, my next question is going to run right into that. Speaking on next year, I mean, they are young, but listen, it was Aaron McKee's second season. He had transfer guard come in. He had Khalif Battle show up. He had another shooter come in. He had, a few guys. They are young, but what was the reason they underperformed? Like, in your opinion, what were they missing? What didn't click? I mean, they got Brendan Barry, who's a good shooter, and he's playing good. I mean, what they did on the offseason, I mean, isn't looking terrible, but, like, they're still just not a great team. Like, why did they underperform?
I think it's just a turnover, having guys, leave for the draft. Your all-time leading scorer is gone now. And, I think it's just it's a tough turnaround to have to bring in a lot of new faces. So many new guys have to, come in here and, you're asking these guys to all gel together as a team in the middle of a pandemic right now. It's hard to do. There were so many games postponed, and that's happened to everyone. So I don't want to use that as an excuse, but to have an inexperienced team go through all of that throughout the season right now, it's been boiling up at this point. And I actually expected them to have a bit of a slow start, but gradually get better as the season has gone along. But that has not happened. That's happened for the women, thankfully, but for the men, it seems like they haven't really learned from their past mistakes. They turn the ball over a lot. They're not getting a lot of premium scoring. I mean, outside of Damian Dunn, I mean, who's really your second option as a scorer? So there's a lot that this team needs. I'm not ready to just, call it quits, on Aaron McKee or any of that. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. So hopefully next year they have one more year of experience under the belt. They can come in, fix some of the little mistakes. It's maybe, hopefully they can, find a shooter somewhere. Just pluck a guy, off the streets if you have to. But you need more scorers and you need to limit the turnovers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you go through a season like this, I mean, in COVID, and all the games that are just canceled and then rescheduled, and then you think you're playing today and then you end up playing tomorrow, chemistry is a huge part in that, and you need a really close connection with your teammates to really be able to perform well with all that going on. So, absolutely. Hey, Jonah, listen, you're good at what you do, brother.
Love to come back. Thank you.
I'll see you then, brother. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Great stuff. As always, Jonah, thank you so much for coming on. Now moving over to the Temple Sports Complex, the women's soccer team has started their season with a loss. UCF started the scoring in the 3rd minute with a goal from Katie Bradley. Through Temple's lackluster defense, UCF had 16 shots total, 10 of which were on net, forcing junior goalkeeper Cameron Stabling to make 7 saves. Mallory Olson would be the hero for the Knights, scoring 2 goals, including this one in the 71st minute to put the game out of reach. Final score 3-0 UCF. Temple falls 1-0 on the season, but has since gone up to 1-1 after beating Villanova 3-0 on Wednesday.
One of the weirdest factors of this wild season for the men's basketball team has been the absence of in-person support from fans on game day. The sports desk Nate Stanley spoke with some players about how they have been able to adapt to the season's changes. Take a look.
Per Philadelphia city regulations, no more than 200 people can gather in a building together. leaving one word to describe the Liacouras Center during game day: silent.
And now, let's get the starting lineups. First, for the pregame game.
Normally, game days in February are packed full of students, family, and fans excited to watch their Owls soar.
Sports fans want to get back to the arenas and watch games. I miss the fans dearly. Definitely feel like we have a home court advantage when we have fans.
Because of COVID-19, fans have been replaced with cardboard cutouts and cheers have been replaced with artificial crowd noise. Now, these cardboard cutouts cannot make the same amount of noise that fans do on game day, so the team, especially the bench, has had to make up for it.
Here at the bench, everyone keep clapping. It's mainly just using your voice from all 5 people, coaches, and the bench.
Still, the lack of fans has not changed the team's goal.
Fans the whole year, but our job on the court doesn't change.
I feel like everyone really feels the same, that we're just out here trying to get a win, whether there's people or not.
Reporting for Temple Update from the Liacouras Center, I'm Nate Stanley.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we will ever get used to that. Thank you, Nate. Now let's take a look at what's ahead for Temple Athletics this weekend. Tonight, volleyball finishes their doubleheader with UCF. Tomorrow, women's basketball is away at Memphis, looking to win their third to last game of the regular season. And on Sunday, fencing will be hosting Penn State, UNC, and St. John's in the Temple Invitational.
Well, what a show we have, Brooklyn. I hope they enjoy it just as much as we do. Hey, that's all time we got for this episode of Temple Timeout.
For Alex Coll and our entire Temple Timeout crew, I'm Brooklyn Vaughan. Stay safe out there, bundle up, guys, and we will see you next week.